Hi all, here at Madera, Superior Courthouse. You can see it in the background. I'm here with Wolf actually today, helping to support their press conference because today, a gentleman who is, thanks to Scott Wiener and our lovely Democrats, a man with a history of sexual assault was transferred into women's prison, and he raped 2 women, and so now he's standing trial for that. You know, the thing that doesn't happen, it happened.
I'm Sharon Byrne. I'm the Executive Director of the Women's Liberation Front, WOLF. We're here at the Superior Court in Madera County in California, and we are here because an inmate is going up for preliminary charges today. There are 3. 2 counts of forcible rape on 2 different women inside the California Correctional Women's Facility. The 3rd charge is an attempt to intimidate a witness and dissuade them from testifying by force. The District Attorney of Madera has brought these charges. We checked. They feel like they have a very provable case. This is an inmate that was transferred into this facility a couple of years ago who identified himself as a female, called himself transgender, and actually also intervened on our lawsuit that we filed against California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation back in 2021 on behalf of 4 female inmates whose human rights were being violated by being housed with men in a women's prison.
Does this guy have previous charges? Was he in prison for previous sexual assault?
Yes, he was actually. So forced copulation is at least one of the charges that I'm aware of, and that is one of the things that landed him in this prison. The way that this has all been architected is in 2020, Scott Wiener proposed Senate Bill 132. It passed through the legislature and was signed by the governor. It created a wide open door for any man to walk through to transfer into a women's facility, and it gave the prison almost no ability to say no to the transfer, unfortunately, that there's multiple appeals processes, committee hearings, that a transfer is almost guaranteed. Women in California's facilities who are in custody did not consent to this, never consented to having men housed with them. Neither did CDCR employees, by the way, right, or people living in these communities who understand that there is a women's facility nearby but did not know that it is now housing violent male felons. A person's history is not considered in the transfer process. There was a report commissioned by WOLF in 2021 from the California Office of the Inspector General. That report came out in November of last year, 2023, and it showed that the prison has no ability to deny transfers, that the prison has really no ability to consider past sexual offenses of any inmate that wants to transfer in, and so the prison's hands are a bit tied in handling this transfer process. The state also began putting condoms in the women's prisons. Gosh, why would we need condoms in a women's lockup facility unless we knew that we were putting men in? Wolf pleaded with Senator Wiener not to pass this bill. We attended town halls that he had on it. He was very proud of this legislation. But we warned from the get-go that any male serving out any sentence for violent assault, rapes, crimes in a men's prison sees an open door to easily get into a woman's prison. Who's not going to take advantage of that, right? So we received a frantic call in April from a male health care worker inside of the Chowchilla facility up north from here, and he said that there are 500 men in the queue waiting to get into the women's facility. Amy Ichikawa, who's with me today from Women to Women, had statistics showing that in the Chowchilla facility there are over 250 male inmates serving amongst 1,900 women, and in the Chino facility, California Institute for Women, it is 100 men have already transferred into a facility housing 1,000 women. So the penetration is happening as expected, pun intended, that men are in the prison and they are assaulting these women. All of this, by the way, is out of compliance with international human rights law. The UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 5 states that prisoners cannot be subject to cruel and inhuman punishment. Putting a man in a locked cell with a woman is absolutely cruel and unusual punishment for her. Having him in her showers with her, with literally nowhere to go, that is cruel and inhuman punishment. The United Nations also put forth in 1957 minimum rules for treatment of prisoners. Minimum rules, right? Minimum level of treatment for prisoners. And in 2015, they renamed this to the Nelson Mandela Rules of Custody by resolution in honor of his time in prison. And Article 11, rule number 11 in the minimum rules of treatment says men and women must be housed separately from each other and as far apart as possible. So California is willfully wading over international human rights law and absolutely violating women's human rights of the women in its custody. And we are not okay with that. We are not standing, we are going to stand up for those women. No one else is really standing up for them except woman to woman. So, this is a hard place to stand in 2024 to beg the public to understand that no, men do not belong in women's incarcerated facilities. This is absolutely not rocket science, but this is the battlefield that we are on.
Can you say this guy's name?
Tremaine Carroll, and he will, I believe his hearing starts at 8:30, and we are here for it. We have some supporters and some legal teams that are watching it on Zoom as well to see what will happen with this, right? So the district attorney feels that they have a solidly provable case, and we thank them for bringing these charges. It's very unfortunate, though, that these charges even have to happen, that the absurdity of it, that of course you put men in women's prisons, rapes are going to happen. Here we are, we're about to go through a prosecution of one. And the same individual is an intervener with the ACLU on the lawsuit that we filed against the California Department of Corrections in 2021 on behalf of 4 women in the Chowchilla facility whose rights were being violated. That suit was dismissed yesterday. The judge gave tremendous overreach in her dismissal opinion, but maybe she didn't know that this case was headed down the pike. And so I think now we have kind of some different grounds maybe to sue on. So I think we're going to look at those options. We are not done here by any means.
Okay, thank you.
Can we get this? Because that reaction was priceless.
Look, yes, he's a man. He's a man. When we first went in there and I hear this voice and I go, where is he? Is he on the screen? She goes, he's right there. I said, no way, that's a man. That's a man.
Yeah. It's a man with a full beard sitting there looking like a man.
And as mad as I want to be at this individual, I can't be, because this is not this person who is obviously going to use this to the best of their ability. Yeah. This is the fault of lawmakers who are allowing this shit to happen with no guardrails whatsoever. There's no requirements. So I think that our friends should go ahead and identify as free so that they can just get let the fuck out of prison, because this is insane.
Because they're going to continue manipulating this.
No other requirement other than self-identification than I am skinny and 19.
I mean,
right.
I'm president, by the way, so
25 years of time, when you give someone an inch in there, they are going to take it. They're going to take it. That's what he did.
And especially with the men, they're very manipulative.
Mm-hmm. They're masters.
They're master manipulators.
Yes. So he said that he didn't have to present as your idea of a woman in order to be a woman. That was what he said.
As long as he's allowed to self-ID himself, that's what he's going to do.
And it's no one's business what this person's sexual preference or orientation is. That's their personal business, and nobody needs to know that. So in other words, I translate and hear that as, I am a heterosexual person with a dick.
That's it.
Yeah, I would say that was clear, yeah.
That's in here raping all the women
and
every chance I get.
And the law allows me to do this, because this is the California predator prioritization model.
It is.
And
it's our progressive patriarchy. They've instituted a brand new progressive patriarchy, and it looks just as bad
progressive
as the old
patriarchy. That's a good way of putting it.
I mean, it just looks as bad as the old progressive
agenda.
Yeah,
Right, the PP agenda.
Progressive patriarchy and the predator prioritization. It's the Quattro P. It's the PPPP.
And it's also an insertion of a new class over women's rights, over lesbian rights, right? Like it's a brand new class, and all you have to do is self-identify, and you got yourself into a new demographic, and you now have supreme rights over everybody else.
Not only that, but you can put on 400 years of, slavery. You can just inherit all these rights. You can inherit everything. All you got to do is self-declare, and you automatically have all of this marginalization and this underrepresentation that's been happening for hundreds of years before this was even a thing.